Morning, everyone, and thank you so much for allowing us to present this morning, just to kind of give you a walkthrough of navigating our producer world, which is kind of where all the information is on Aetna, and also just a brief introduction on going to the SilverScript portal, which you can also get to through Producer World, but you can get to it independently also. My name is Paula Gillum. I'm actually one of the broker managers out of the Ohio market. And with me today, we also have Matt Kramer is on the phone. He is the broker manager out of the Cleveland market. Matt, if you could say hi.
Can you hear me, Paula?
Yes.
Great. Yep, Matt Kramer here. I'm the broker manager for the greater Cleveland area, as well as down through Akron, Mansfield, and the Worcester areas, and Ashland as well. So if you're out rating business in those areas, need some help with that, please reach out. Always happy to help by voice, text, or email. So thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time. Back to you, Paul.
Okay. And Chad Williams.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Paula. I am the broker manager for the Dayton and Cincinnati markets. That is my cell phone on the screen. So if you ever have any questions, if I could ever be any help, feel free to give me a call or text me. Thank you. Back to you, Paula.
Thank you. I'm not sure if Dan's on the phone this morning, Dan Trombley. Okay, Dan was not on this morning. Myself, you'll see my information down there. And the newest person back to our team is Miss Joanne Riley. I'm not sure if Joanne has been able to get in as yet. Joe, are you on? Perhaps hasn't been able to get on yet. So for those of you that don't know, we actually had a change in employees in the Columbus market, and Shannon Ward was actually now is the director of sales in Kentucky, and with that we had an opening in the Columbus market, and Joanne Riley is now back with Aetna as the broker manager for the greater Columbus area. So welcome to Joanne. And then our broker manager, if anyone is actually selling in the Kentucky market, is Chris Baker, and you'll see his information on there. He's right now dealing with Greater Lexington, Ashland, and Eastern Kentucky. And Shannon Ward, of course, is the director of sales over in that market. So thank you so much, team, for joining us. So again, we're going to go over just a tour of the producer world process and how to use it, how to navigate through it. So when you're first going in to actually access the site, you'll see here, if you go to the www.aetna.com and then the /insurance producer, you'll actually see the login information. Or if you just go to www.aetnamedicare.com, and go in as a producer, that same site will show up. If you do not have access to it, you're going to have to register. If you do have access, then you're going to put your username and password in and then log into the site. So it's fairly easy to go in and log into the site. So once you have access and you're actually able to go into it, it's going to ask you to, of course, put some information in there and make sure that your information is correct. It's also going to ask you some specific questions. So it's going to ask you, am I an individual? Am I a principal of a firm? Or am I associated? So with us, it would be, I am an agent, broker, employee associated with the firm. For most of you on the line, it's either I'm going to be an individual broker or I am a principal of the firm. And then you're going to actually press continue, because that's going to give you certain rights when you actually go into the pages. So once you are in, it's going to say welcome. You're going to see your name in the top left-hand corner. So it's going to say welcome, Paula, and then the date that you're actually in. And then at the top, you're going to see all of the departments that Aetna actually has out there. So you'll see individual, you see small group, middle market, national group Medicare, and right close to the end, you'll see individual Medicare, and that's where you should be looking. So that is where you should click on to get into our information. A lot of times when people go in and they get lost, it's because they're not sure where they are in that process, and all of our departments use Produce World in some way, unless it's Medicare Supplement. So go in and click on that individual Medicare, button, radial button. So when you go in, I'm going to say to you, it's very, very important. Try to stay away from the left-hand side for the most part. So in the gray, try to stay away from here. Where you want to be mostly is in the middle of the page. When you're actually looking at this page, this picture is actually going to change, and this will change every 30 seconds or so. But where you want to be in is these radial buttons down here. It's going to show you plans, requirements to sell, learn, share, network, enroll, reports, and compensation. So there's also a quick links. So things that you use a lot are going to show under the quick links checkbox. If you click on that, you'll see like enrollment kits. I think PDP is under there also. But that's an easy way to go in for stuff that you use all the time. So just to navigate and just to show kind of where you are. So when you're looking under plans, it's going to show you different things. So it's going to show the plan guides. The first book is going to come up here in June. It's going to show you some plan tools. When you're looking at requirements to sell, it's going to show you what to do with certification, contracting, you're ready to sell notifications. It'll also tell you where to go to do the market-specific training if we do not do that in person. So when we have the road shows this year, that's usually your market-specific training, so you usually don't have to do that. Also, compliance and oversight is under that requirements to sell tab. Okay. The Learn tab is really, really important because it also has information for you, the agent, to be able to learn things. Okay, so it has guidance on doing sales events, educational materials for you. So let's just say that you want to learn more about maybe the MA only, or maybe the over-the-counter. Some of that education information is in there for you, the agent, to be able to use with your client. And then the share button, which is up here, is going to show things that you can use with your clients. It's going to show flyers and forms. These are where your sales presentations are listed. So you can actually go in. There are Medicare 101s under there. There's our regular MAPD and DSNP presentations. There's the PDP presentations. And also videos for the presentations are actually under the share button. So if you ever hear us ask you whether or not you're actually using our presentations, this is where to find them. Okay. Under the network button, you're going to provide the directories, the search tools, the pharmacy information. And under enroll, you're going to find information. This is a send right now. It's actually going to change the Think Agent, which is the new tool that we have for enrollment. Enrollment kits, the reports, how to mail or fax the enrollment. Here's another way for folks to actually get folks enrolled. So if you have a paper application and you're usually someone that faxes it over, you can actually upload the application over to Aetna. And then there's also information on the value-based enrollment or the HRAs. Very important for you, the reports tab. This is where you access all your reports. There's also some help there for you, so it will give you information on how to access the reports and what they mean and what they look like, and then the report information. And then your compensation support here, how we pay, the schedule, the eligibility, the AOR, the statements, and then there's an FAQs and forms right here. So if you ever have any questions on that, go down and just download that FAQ, and that would actually assist you. Any questions in the chat box so far, anyone?
Nothing so far, Paula.
Okay. So probably my favorite is the Quick Links tab. So right underneath where it says plans, there is actually the Quick Links tab, and that has the producer guide. So the producer guide is the guide that you use when you actually did the certification, and that was part of what you used. So I always encourage folks to actually download it. It also has the certification information is there, so that's actually where you can actually click on that link and actually go to the AHIP site. The enrollment kits is also under this quick link. So if you're actually going into order your kits, you can actually do it from here or go to enroll drop down, it will go there. The contracting forms and guides are there. The onboarding links are there. So if you're an upline, that's where they go to actually do the onboarding cases and the completions. And then this is also where you can actually go in and enter the SilverScript agent portal, which is a totally separate portal because it actually belongs to CVS rather than to Aetna itself. So the gray bar menu, which is over to the left-hand side, is not usually used or localized just for individual Medicare, which is why I kind of stay away from it if you need to. Okay. Okay. So it's another way, to go in and look up the compensation, or if, for example, you need to update something for your records. Maybe you want to update and look up your license, see where you are with your licensing. You can actually go over that way. Or also another way to look up your Medicare reports. But for the most part, you can actually just go to the report tab. This might be important to some of you folks that actually have folks that are working in your offices that are actually looking at reports for you. You can actually give them access to manage your information. So you can have a designee, and that's where you'd actually put that, manage that designee on that side of on the gray tab. Okay. Just again, be careful using the gray tab for Medicare Business, because it might be that it's picking up information for large group or small group or individual, and because you might also do business with those other entities that we have. So just be careful using that gray bar. Okay. Any questions so far on that? So I think that's a lot of times where people get lost.
So, Paula, we did have one question come through, and that is, they've always accessed the SilverScript portal through Ascend. And, with that going away, they're asking, can they now access it through ThinkAgent or through the Aetnas site? So with that, there you go. You just answered it for me. Thank you.
Oh no, I was like doing heavy breathing. So you can ask the question for them, Chad. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, with the Producer World, you can access it through there, or directly go through the etnaseniorproducts.com to access it as well.
Thank you. So again, ordered enrollment kits. So again, you can actually go in under the plans or under the quick links, or go under the enrollment, the enroll, and look it up. You're actually going to go in, it's going to say order enrollment kit. And once you get into it, it's actually going to look like this. It's going to say, I understand there's an important message. It's going to tell you how to actually access the site. When you go in, it's going to ask for your username and your password. So for 2021, so last year, they started using the login as your NPN and your password as your NPN to make it easier to actually access the site. So NPN is the username and the NPN is the login. A lot of times people get folks saying, I can't log in and I'm using my old password. Well, it's because they weren't using the NPN. So once you're in, you're going to be able to see all of the states that you actually have access to. And so you choose your drop down. So if you want, if you're in Alabama or in Ohio, you're just going to have to click on whichever state that you're in, and the language depending on where you are. And you'll be able to see the products that are available for you and to order. One nice thing about this also, and I don't think it's on here, is that when you're actually using this tool, you're able to go, so let's say that you're actually in Ohio, but you're ready to sell maybe in Florida and you do not have a kit. You can actually download a kit from this site, and send it to someone so that they can actually enroll with that kit if you're not using our Think Agent tool. So again, you go in, you put the quantities in, or go into the cart, and then you go and check out the cart. And once you've actually done the order, they'll actually send an email to you saying that this order is on its way, or it'll be out to you in a certain amount of time. And you're going to be able to see how many things are in your cart. Okay. Now, this is what I was talking about when it comes to downloading a copy of the application. Let me back up here just a moment. So actually, when you're actually in here, and let's say that I wanted a kit for Alabama and I don't have a paper one, right underneath this, there actually is where it says View Counties and Contracts. You'd actually click on that, and once you click on it, you're actually going to be able to see the booklet. There actually is a little arrow, and I think when you're looking at the site, it's actually over on the right-hand side. It's not here, I don't think, but one of the two places. It's either going to be here or over on the right-hand side. Once you click on that, that's the download button. You're going to be able to download that whole kit. That whole kit is about 110 pages or so. So it is the whole kit because it has everything in here, for everything that's actually in that booklet, including the application. So when you're actually doing a manual application, you're actually going to have to write in the kit number for us because ours are all unique. So when you see our kit, you'll also see a unique identifier at the bottom of the application. So when you get that, you're actually going to have to write in the application the kit number, and you're actually going to have to put down the time, the day and time in 24-hour military time, I should say. So if it was, what's the date today? 3/16, you put
17.
3/17, and then you put in the military time, which is 10:22. If it was 2 o'clock, then you put 1400 hours. Okay. So again, fill up your shopping cart. You'll be able to place your order, and then you'll get a confirmation. Ordered enrollment kit through SilverScript. So again, you can actually go through this portal. On the quick links, you'll actually go over to the SilverScript portal. It will take you into the portal. You're going to have to log in, so it will give you your login. Make sure that you've got the correct plan year showing up. And then you go in and going into order supplies, and they actually do their supplies in like 5-pack increments. So when you order those, put that information in, and it will be sent out to you.
Do they still limit, Paula, like 5 kits at a time? Do you know?
They do, but you know, when you're ordering, you can actually order like 5. I think it's up to 50 that you can order in one real order.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, when you're ordering our NAPD kits, let's say that you were doing some kind of large event and you need, 50 kits. You want to make sure that you order the 50 kits. It's going to come through the broker manager to actually approve it. So they're going to ask you to justify why you're ordering it. And usually people will say, well, I'm ordering for more than one person, or I'm doing an event. So make sure that you order what you need, and then we will come look it up on the back end and say, okay, if we have to reach out to you, we'll reach out to you. But usually we'll just say, yes, it looks like Matt or Paul is doing this for a certain reason, and we'll approve that order. So when they're going into the PDP, into the supply room, it tells you here, we'll automatically issue 5. That's at the beginning. And then after that, so when AEP rolls around again, thinking about AEP, once you've done your certifications, they're actually going to initially send you out that 5. But then you want to go in and make sure you start ordering more of them at the same time. That way that you get more than 5 when you actually start AEP. And here it says, if you need additional kits, remember the requested kit limit is multiples of 5. The maximum limit is 50. You can also go in and find PDFs. And then all your resources are actually under the resources tab at the top of the page. Producer guide. So that's also included in that hyperlink, and that producer guide is kind of where you're going to find a lot of information about, maybe what an Aetnas record is, how do I find something, when do we pay, what do we have available in the market, and how to kind of navigate through Aetna for you. So it's going to show you that. It's going to show you, what agents are, what agents are called, whether or not you're a licensed only agent, how those premiums, how your commissions are paid. A lot of information is actually in that producer guide. Actually, the table of contents, and like it'll see here, it gives you a welcome. It shows you about onboarding, the processes, and it's actually, these are also quick links. So when you're actually going into it on your computer, once you click on it, you'll be able to hyperlink directly to that page. This is very important. I think if you have anyone that's actually working for you and doing administrative services, that's something that they really want to go through and learn. Some of those processes are out there and available. So, contact information for you. So for those of you that are on the line, usually what will happen is the contracting is actually going to be done through Cornerstone. So they're the ones that are actually going to be using some of this information. However, once you're on board and maybe you want to make a change, this is where the changes will happen. So they might send you a link from this site and for you to fill in, and you would actually be filling in the information, and then it will go back to your upline or to Cornerstone to finish that contracting information. So if maybe you're changing to an LLC, or maybe you're changing the way or your name, or maybe you're changing principals, it all goes through that tab. It all goes through the requirements to sell and that contracting system right here that we have. So, at some point you are going to have to go into this, into that contracting information to get updated. So there's information here just in case you need, maybe you're selling a book, maybe you're buying a book. All of that information is actually here. The forms and the guidelines are actually here under that site. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to see. Maybe you're transferring your book to someone else. Maybe you're getting a book from someone else. The guidelines will all show up here under the forms and guidelines. And then also it's going to show you stuff on who's not ready to sell and why you may not be ready to sell. Your state license and employment guideline requirements are here also. And then termination of agents also shows up under here. Or maybe you have a regular agent, or maybe you have a licensed only agent, and what your responsibilities are with those agents and agencies. Any questions on that?
Hi, Paula, it's Joanne calling in
Hey,
from
Joe.
the other side. Hello to everybody. There was a question from Bernadine, skipping back to the SilverScript portal. Do you still have to upload a scope of appointment if doing a paper app?
Yes. Yes. So yes, let's talk about that when we get over that part. But definitely you have to upload when you're taking, when you're doing a paper enrollment with SilverScript.
Hey, Paula, just one more question also, and I'm not positive about this, so maybe you can help out. It's in regards to the SilverScript ordering. Those kits come in bundles of 5. So to get 25, would they actually just order 5?
No. So when they go into that portal and they're ordering, they're going to order 5 and then 5 and then 5 and then 5 and then 5.
Okay, I wasn't exactly sure on that, so thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, you could order up to 50. So, when you look at the actual order, it'll say 5, and then you're going to have to do 5 and 5 and 5 until you get to 50 of those. All right. So compensation, there's actually individual Medicare statements that you can find. There's Aetna compensation statements, and then there's individual Medicare commission reports that are actually out there. And so depending on what information that you need, this is the information here, and I will send this out to you because they're available in different formats and depending on what it is. So the statements are PDF, the compensation can be PDF or Excel, and then individual reports can be commission reports can be PDF or Excel forms also. But how to actually access those is if you go into the compensation, it's actually going to show you some information down there. It's going to tell you how we pay, the eligibility requirements, age of record, and it's also, when you look at the age of record, it's actually also going to show you how to make a change. So if you're looking to see how we can make a change or reassign clients, that information is actually showing up under that agent's record. There's also reports and statements, and then the forms, guidelines, and instructions are on there too. That instructions is also going to show you about the W-9s and the EFT information. Okay, so a lot of times we have a lot of questions about how to change a policy or what happens. How does a member go about changing maybe from one agent to another? That's what the agent of records is about, how to change, and then the retention policies associated with that person. Okay. I'm not going to read this, but there's a lot of information here. Like I said, I will be sending this out to you. But there's a lot of different information on, first year commissions versus new commissions versus, paid after that. So, and then there's true up. So I'm not going to kind of go into this, but I will send this out to Matt and to Paul so that if anyone wants this information that they can have it. But it will actually show you up. This is a sample of what it looks like based on agents and agencies. So, you've got new to Medicare. This is like a new to Medicare and how they pay it. And then this is a unlike plan change, and this is prorated. So again, I'm not going to go through this. This is just to say that usually they're going to pay you based on when that enrollment comes in. And in a lot of times, the person is it might be new, but CMS doesn't know that yet. And so they're going to pay you partially, and then they'll do a true up after that. So a lot of times when we get questions is, why was I not paid the full amount? It's because CMS has not identified it yet as a new application. And once they do, then what will happen is we will back out the first amount that we paid to you and then pay you the full amount or the true up amount. Questions on that? Okay. So this is one of the places where you can actually go to the gray bar, okay, and look up, compensation services. If you're looking for things such as a statement for the value-based enrollment or the HRA. So, and also requesting any changes for your EFT. So as you know, that we do have the HRA or the BBE as we used to call it, and for those payments for folks that are actually doing those HRAs when they enroll our clients. If you go over to the gray bar and actually click on the compensation, there are different reports. This is actually one of the only places that you can actually see that BBE report. So if you actually go into that, it's going to show compensation statements. It's going to include all of your MAPD, PDP commissions, as well as the renewals, and any VBA payments that they receive. Specifically, it's not a great, but you'll be able to see any of those reports on here. It's actually going to show you what they are. All products are going to be listed on the statement. And just depending on how your commissions are paid, it's going to look a little bit different. So, it depends on if it's direct deposit or if it's actually paid, by check or what have you. Most folks take direct deposits, but this is definitely a place to actually look for your BBE. So when you actually get those statements, you can actually tell it how you'd like to download that copy of your statement. So some people want it in PDF format. Some people want it in an Excel format. But this is the only statement that will actually show those HRAs on here. And how to identify those HRAs, it's going to have a generic name and ID on here, okay? So we are paying it with your commission, so it's going to have this really funny name, and then you'll usually be able to tell by the amount that we pay. It's the $70, but you actually show it on your statement. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's kind of like
Paula,
Good.
how long should a broker anticipate waiting from the time they do a VBE/HRA till when they get paid? Is it about a week and a half, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks.
Okay.
It should be about 2 weeks, yes. And if there's any issues with that, let's say they're not seeing them, then they definitely need to reach out. You know, if they're not seeing it at least by that 4th week, they need to reach out to see what's going on. Because maybe they're not recognizing it. Maybe it's not the first time that they've done a VB and they're not entitled to it, but they need to reach out.
Okay.
Okay. And again, I'm not going to go through there. Generating reports when you're actually in the report, okay, they can be accessed this way. You can access reports and then there's report help. You can access membership and commissions through the access reporting button, and it's going to ask you to verify it's you. You can actually identify members on here. One of the changes that they made, and I don't have it in here, is I think last week they actually sent out a broker blast just saying that, we used to have some of the older ID numbers on our statements. Well, they're actually, they've revamped it. You're going to be able to see the client information for all of your old Aetna membership with the new Aetna ID numbers. So you'll see the old number and you'll see the new ID numbers on there also, which we didn't have before. They're also updated with the date of birth and the address, so you'll be able to see those easily, which is kind of nice. So when you're actually looking at it, you're actually going to see different information. So you're going to be able to see, so if you are just an individual agent, you'll just see the individual agent information. But if you have a firm name, you actually, down here, you're going to see the firm name. So if I was Paula Gillum agent, I would just see the report up here. If I was Paula Gillum agency, I would see both reports. So I'd see Paula Gillum here under the individual, and then I'd see Paula Gillum agency down here. So you can actually look up, there's a member application search right here. And if you're looking for a specific member, you can actually look up that member. And then here is where you'd actually see a report. So the commission pay detail report is here. And then you also have the summary report is right here. You can also look up your pending application report. So let's say that you enroll someone Monday and it's now Thursday and you're trying to find out whether or not that's gone through. It's usually going to show up on your pending application report. If it's already been approved, it's actually going to show up on your Medicare Book of Business report. And that's also where you're actually going to see the new member information now. You're actually going to see the old ID number, if it was an old ID number under the old legacy Aetna, or the new application, or the new ID numbers that we have, which are all digits. You'll be able to see all of those. Okay. So the member search, which is what was up here, so the member application search, when you go into that, when it allows you to do a single member search, you can get the status and other details about that information. So this is sometimes what we will get from brokers where they found this information and maybe it's not showing active, maybe it's pending, or maybe it says something else here. That's how they send it over to us so that we can actually do the research. So I always encourage folks to go in, look this up to see where that member is, whether it's pending or what have you, and if there's an issue, then you reach out to either your upline or your local broker manager. Okay. So when you're generating those reports, remember when you actually generate reports, you can actually tell it which way that you want those to look when you're doing the report. So if you've got a large book, it might take a little bit to come through for you. But there's this little funny thing up here. I'm not sure what you actually call it. It looks like a looks like a printer with an arrow, but that will allow you or take you to those reports, those CRISTA reports, and you can actually do a drop down to let it know how you want that data downloaded for you. So whether or not you want it in PDF format or in an Excel format, that you can actually, excuse me, you could actually go in and download that for yourself, and keep it or put it on your computer, whatever you wish to do with that. So again, an Excel version is usually the preferred data, because actually you can sort it by Excel. If it's PDF, you can't sort, but that Excel allows you to sort the information. Okay. Alrighty. And then if you're looking for help, go under Access and Reporting Help, and it will give you an overview of what some of the codes mean when you're actually looking at the information. So sometimes, it might be someone's terminated. It's going to give you those termination codes. You'll be able to see what they mean. So when you're looking at the report, and let's say something is terminated and you don't know why, if you look at the code, it's going to tell you why. Because sometimes we will get calls on that. It's probably easier for you to look it up than it is for us, because we have to go through broker support to get that information for you. And it gives you down here termination codes and descriptions.
Hey, Paula, real quick question. If you've got somebody showing up in your block, but for whatever reason you haven't been paid on it, what's the best way to facilitate, saying, hey, Aetna, why haven't I been paid on this particular piece of business?
Best way is to actually do an email over to, if you don't want to call, do an email over to broker support. So it's brokersupport@aetna.com. Give them that information. Show that it's actually in your book. So you can do a quick cut and paste. Show it's in your book and ask them, please give you a status on the commission payment for that person. And that's the easiest way to do it, because they do have to respond to that email.
Okay. Just curious. That every so often comes up, if you audit your book.
It does. Yeah, it does. And a lot of sometimes it's just stuff that they've missed. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's stuff that they've missed. But that's probably the easiest way to get that done. That way you have a record of it also. So when we're actually going into the provider search, fairly easy. You're actually going to go under the network tab, find providers online through Aetna, and it's going to show you the Find a Doc tool. For those of you that are using this, when I get to this page, this Find a Doc page, I actually save this as a favorite. That way I can find it easily rather than going directly into Producer World every time I want to look up a doctor. I actually save this as a favorite. So when you go into that Find a Plan, it's going to ask you for the state that you're in, and you're usually going to go in as a guest, not the member, and look it up. The same way for the pharmacy, the same thing. Find a pharmacy. You can look up the zip code and find pharmacies in the network. So, fairly easy to use, but like I said, once you've got to that page, save it as a favorite. That way you'll be able to use it whenever you need to use it. When you're using our online tools, such as the Think Agent or Ascend, it will actually take you directly over to the site to actually look these things up. So just some miscellaneous other information, where to find helpful documents and what have you, the AOR changes. It's just kind of giving you a legend of how to get there. So go under individual Medicare, go under compensation, go under agent of record. Upload in enrollment applications, go to individual Medicare, go to enroll, go to upload enrollment application. So just kind of giving you a kind of a legend as to where to go to get help quickly when you're actually looking through that. There's also,
hey, Paula.
For those who, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, once you get through this, what's the quickest way to get to the dental network? Is there a quick way to do that? So just once you finish this up.
Yeah, what I would do is keep it as a quick link. I would actually go all the way in. So I would actually go all the way in here. Mm-hmm. Okay, go into find find a provider, go in and click on dental, and then I would save that page.
Like as a hyperlink.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so once you've found the doc, find the plan. So let's say you're looking at the whatever plan that you're looking at, click on the dental link. It's going to take you over to the doc find for dental. Just save that to your favorites, and that way you'll only have to just click on that and have that on your computer.
You have to dig into it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to go into this every time, do this, next step. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. So the Aetna Medicare Broker Manager contact list, at the bottom, you'll be able to find the broker manager contact list for all of the states. So, not just Ohio, but in all the states that we're actually doing business. So if you're doing business, let's say in Texas, and you need a broker manager out of Texas, you're able to go in at the contact list and you'll be able to find all of those. And it updates, every couple of weeks because we do have, changes. So if you're looking for someone else, you can actually go down there and take a look. So going into the SilverScript portal. So when we're actually in, go back down here just a moment. So right here, when we're in the plans, and you want to go into the SilverScript portal, and it will take you into the SilverScript portal. So it works independently of our other portals. So it actually is the SilverScript portal that belongs to CVS. So actually, when you're actually in that portal and you've actually logged in to it, this is kind of a guide to how to get into that portal. So you log in, and when you're logging in, again, it's something you have to register for. So if you're not currently registered, you would have had to register for it. So you log in, put your password in, and again, this is also something you can actually save to your hyperlink if you wish to. You can go in through Producer World, but if you know how to log into SilverScript and you can just save it to your computer, that's what I would do. So once you're logged in, you can actually get into the site. This just shows you how to reset the password, by the way. But once you're actually in it, it's going to show up like this, and this is your home page. So at the top, you're going to see a whole bunch of different things. You're going to see Silver Mail, Enrollment, Report, Tools, Resources, and I Want To. There's a lot of different things that is going to enable you to actually navigate through this system. For you, you're going to see the order supplies and pharmacy locator at the top. Ours looks a little bit different, but anyway, you're going to be able to go order supplies and do that. So the number one is I Want To is this is your main navigation menu. Number two, up here is going to show your ready to sell information. Okay, are you ready to go? And then number three is up here is where you order your supplies. And this is very important. So this is to make sure that you can actually go backwards and forwards to that tool. So the SilverScript logo allows you to go back to the home page. But when you're looking at SilverScript and when you're looking for help with SilverScript, one of the biggest things or helps that I see is the Silver Mail. So a lot of times, folks need to, update information for a member. It wants to go to SilverScript, and to get it over to them quickly, you want to actually use Silver Mail. That allows it to go directly over to SilverScript. And someone asked a little while ago, whether or not you have to still update the scope of appointment, send it up to SilverScript. Yes, you do if you use paper. If you use the Ascend, and the Ascend is actually sunsetting on the 31st of March, or Think Agent, you do not need to upload a copy of the scope of appointment. So if you are not using Think Agent right now to enroll someone into SilverScript, please think about doing it. Because when you use a paper app, there's a lot of steps that you have to follow to actually get that person fully enrolled, well, not so much enrolled, but to get paid. So to kind of like negate some of that for you, I would suggest get used to using Think Agent, and you'll be able to just enroll someone and not have to upload any more paperwork. That's my Think Agent spiel for the day. Okay, so when you're actually going in, there's going to be an inbox for you. And under the enrollment tab, there's the inbox with SilverMail, but under the enrollment tab, which is up on here, right here, okay, you'll see the drop downs. You'll see their electronic scopes. So this is how to send your client a paperless scope of appointment. You'll see how to do an electronic application. So this is sending your client a paperless application, and they can actually sign it. You can actually do an enrollment, an email enrollment. So you can send them a link to self-enroll. And this is where entering a paper application into the portal or accessing the call center scripting for that. And then you're also able to do a temporary member ID card for that member. So these are the enrollment processes that you have under SilverScript. And so I would say at every point, you want to try and stay away from paper at all times with SilverScript, because it's going to cause you to have to upload a lot of information to the system afterwards. Okay. So your menus, you've got the reports on here too. You can have access to your electronic scope of appointments. It's going to show you the quick links. It's going to give you your training, your certifications, and then your resources tab, which is also another place that you want to go to. The resources tab is going to show you how to reorder kits. The Medicare website's on here. The plan offerings are here. Any of your reference materials are actually listed under the resources, and then your supply room is also listed. So if you're not going in up here under supply order, you can actually go into the resources tab also and pick up some of that stuff. So there's a couple of different places you can actually access the same information. Questions?
I think I saw one.
Yeah, so there was one that came through if we're going to cover med subs today.
The enrollment.
Unfortunately, that's not going to be one of the things that we're covering today. But if you do need additional training for Medicare supplements, your local broker manager would be happy to help you. Or we host a lot of WebEx trainings at www.aetnamedicareagenttraining.com. But if you need immediate assistance, go ahead and reach out to your local broker manager, and we would be more than happy to go over that with you.
And what we will say about the MedSup enrollment application, it's very seamless and simple and intuitive as well. So any questions on that, we're happy to field those separately.
Yeah. And on the MedSup side, remember that the Medicare supplements is a totally separate contract than the Medicare Advantage and the PDP. So the Medicare Supplement Department actually has ongoing trainings that they do, every week or so on MedSups and all of their ancillary products. And so they do have their own trainings that they have like this. You can also do on demand. They do have some on-demand training. You can actually just go into the site and pick it up and just kind of listen to those trainings. So again, on the SilverScript portal, the agent menus, you can actually look under the tab that says I want to. You can get a temporary member ID card. Here for you, see the status of your enrollment. So when you're actually going in here, look under the I want to tab, and if you want to see where that enrollment is and what the status of it is, you want to go under here. Okay. And then you can send the e-applications is under here, and then send electronic scope of appointment. So again, SilverMail is going to be your friend when it comes to SilverScript. If you're looking for something, and let's say that you go here and you cannot find the status of your enrollment, please reach out to broker support. Send either call them at 866-714-9301 if you're looking for the status of the enrollment, or you can actually email them, but they'll be able to look up the status of your enrollment if you're looking for that. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this, but again, the menus are different, so the enrollment's different. The electronic stuff is different than the paper application, so just make sure that you're using the correct information. And then, of course, if you're using a paper application, there's a lot of steps that you actually do have to follow. Okay. So this, I kind of like highlighted this for you, and I will kind of just going to go through it. So the SilverScript, the scope of appointment is needed whenever the agent has a meeting, regardless of the venue, and they have to confirm. And within 24 hours of receiving the completed application, you must enter that information directly into the enrollment portal. You have to send all of that information. So you can either fax it over to them, send it via the enrollment portal and the Silver Mail, or send it by encrypted email to the enrollment verification at CVS Caremark. So, you know, some extra steps when you're actually doing that paper application. If you are using the Ascend right now or the Think agent, you do not have to do this process. So that's why I say I very much encourage you that if you're not using those tools right now, sign up for one of our training sessions, which we are doing over the next couple of weeks till the end of March on Think Agent, and learn that process. That way you'll save yourself some effort and some time. Okay. And then Silver Mail is, of course, whenever you need to send information down to SilverScript regarding a member. Usually it's whether or not someone maybe has other insurance, or someone's coming off a group plan and they need to just quantify that it's creditable coverage. Usually that's when they use it. So just make sure that it goes through the Silver Mail process. And if they ask for stuff within a certain period of time, that it's uploaded in a certain period of time. And that has come to the end of my chat. So any questions out there? I'll send it back
Paula,
to our,
I've got a question. It's maybe not related to this, but I know at one point there was talk Aetna would come out with their own standalone PDPs. There was like a certain period that you guys were not allowed to have your own PDPs. Is there talk for 2023 that you guys might have, you know, Aetna standalone PDPs come back out?
Yeah, that when we had to, you know, sell that over to WellCare back, 3 years ago, you know, and then we started using the SilverScript. I think because we're starting to use the name, you remember we were using totally SilverScript, now it's called Aetna. Now we have the Aetna name in it, so I think they kind of like doing it gradually, and I think at some point this will be our offering. I don't think they're going to be doing anything outside of Aetna, CVS. I think it's going to be the SilverScript. That's how I feel about it. I'm not sure, but I think because they've started to integrate the name Aetna into that SilverScript product. Because if you look at the kits right now, you know, it used to just have, you know, SmartRx all over it and what have you. Now it has the Aetna name, so I think it'll be the lines will be blurred, and it'll be Aetna, more Aetna than, you know, SilverScript itself.
Okay.
What other questions
I also would
do you have?
This is Matt with Cornerstone as well. I just wanted to just clarify something, just because I know that you were just talking about the SOA process with SilverScript and how that doesn't necessarily apply with Think Agent and Ascend. But I also just wanted to mention, because I saw some attendees that I know are using our Medicare Center tool right now, and I can just, you know, wanted to confirm as well that, you know, the enrollments that go through that, the SOA is not required to be, you know, manually keyed in either. So
Wonderful, and that does save a lot of time. You know, if you're using that, you know, if you're using a paper app and you you've done the paper, you've done what you needed to do. Now you have to upload more stuff. It just is, it can be a time saver for you. So, whichever tool that you're using, if you're using, Cornerstone's tool, that's a lot easier than that you have to upload everything. Of course, you have to maintain that scope of appointment for 10 years in your own household, but, we're not going to ask you for it unless we need it.
Hey, Paula, we've got a question from Ann Taylor. She says, speaking of temporary ID cards, how do we request a new ID card for an Aetna MAPD plan?
Okay, so what you want to do is call broker support, choose option 8, and then you're going to have the member's information, all of their information, at least 3 pieces of information, plus your information, and ask them to send the member a card.
Okay, so 3 pieces of information for ID.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have that member's full information. Otherwise, they're going to pull the HIPAA information rule on you, and you won't get the information. But when you call broker support, is option number 8, and they will actually send you over to member services, and they have a department that's actually dealing with brokers that are asking for information.
Good info.
Mm-hmm. What other questions? And I know we're 11:01, so I'm on your time, so we'll stay on as long as we have any questions or if anyone needs anything.
Yeah, Ann just said it'd be nice if they could order a new card online, which that would be nice.
I do agree.
Put that on the wish list. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice if we had that, temporary card things like SilverScript has. It would be nice if we had that on the MAPD side.
Well, I think we're good. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this for us.
Oh, no, anytime. We're here to help. And again, here's the listing of our broker managers that are here to help you. So if you have any questions on anything at any time, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. We'd be more than glad to help you. And we thank you and appreciate each and every one of you and all that you do to help us, just grow the business and grow Aetna. And we look forward to a very, very productive rest of the year. So thank you so much for having us this morning.
Thanks, Paula. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.